Welcome back to the channel, folks. This is the channel where you learn everything gospel piano and how to play piano by ear. Today we're going to be talking about how you can make anything sound bluesy. I'm going to give you the characteristics and a little nuance of things that you can add to any song that will take it from just standard chord progression into a more bluesy, gospel sounding feel. So be sure to stick around for that. All right, welcome back. Today we're working out of the key of B flat major. The diatonic chords for B flat major, using the number system, B flat is the 1, C minor is the 2, D minor is the 3, E flat major is the 4, F major is the 5, G minor is the 6, and A diminish is the 7. You should do this, especially if you're a beginner, new to the number system. Do this with every key that you're playing in, so you get comfortable thinking in terms of numbers. That will come in handy later. So let's take this old standard church song. It's often done at benediction time. And so if you play in church, most likely you will play this song at some point in time. It's a pretty simple song, and most people play it this way in the beginner's version. So, amen, 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 amen. That's all to the song, and that's all the chords. If you're playing it bare bones, beginner version, that's all to it, right? The 1 to the 6, then you come back to the 1, then you bounce it to the 4, back to the 1, back to the 4, back to the 1, then to the 5, to the 1. And again, the reason why we use number system is so it'll get easy for you when we start transposing keys and changing that. Not that we're doing that in this lesson, but in future lessons. It's good to be able to think about number system. So that's the bare bones, right? Doesn't really sound gospel-y bluesy. So how can we change that, make it more gospel blues? First thing, here we go. Amen. We're going to do a 2-5 passing going to the 6. Right? We're going to throw in some passing chord. We're going to do we call it a 2-5 passing. It's a passing chord concept, right? So instead of playing an A diminish to a D minor to the A, we're changing the quality of this chord, and I'm playing that. So it's an A7, sharp 9, sharp 5. And then when I get to my 3, we're going to change it to dominant 7. Now we have a D7, sharp 5, flat 9. And that takes us to 6. So that's one of the first rules to make your song start sounding bluesy and gospel. We're going to use a lot of dominant 7 chords. And then the next step beyond that, we start to alter those dominant 7 chords. Now let's talk about another important facet of how to make songs sound bluesy and gospel, is incorporating that blues scale. So the B flat blues scale, B flat, D flat, E flat, E, F, A flat, back to B flat. And the formula, 1, flat 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, flat 7, back to the 1. So it's good to know that formula so you can learn all the blues scale. And if you want a PDF that has all 12 blues scales with the fingering for both left hand and right hand across multiple octave, I'm going to link to that down below. You can download it for free and start working on those blues scale. Because one of the things I like to do is incorporate these blue tones into my chord. So, amen. Right here. Amen. And we're going to walk it up. Right? So from the 6, instead of just going straight back to the 1, we do what we call a walk up. Very common in gospel. And what we're doing is a 5 in first inversion and add the 9. Look at that particular voicing. 3rd, root, 9, 5, and root. Now, I'm calling it root because we're on the 5, right? And then back to the 1. So, movement right there with that left hand bass. And we'll talk about including blue notes where possible. So, this minor 3rd. So it's that still 1 chord that we're on. We're just throwing in that chromatic blue note to give it that bluesy sound. Amen, amen, amen. Or we can go. We're going to talk about all of that stuff. Let's go back. Now you see how I get from here? So we're back to that 4. Amen. And to the 3. So instead of going back to the 1, just put the bass to the 3. It's still a 1 chord, but now it's in a different inversion, or what we call different voicing. Now instead of going back to the 4 now, we use this chord. Ooh, a minor 7 flat 5. This is a borrowed chord from the parallel minor. So if we take B flat minor, that's where that 2 chord comes from. Another characteristic of a traditional gospel. Where possible, we slip in that 2 chord, change the quality to minor 7 flat 5. And it's going to give you that churchy sound. So in context, amen, amen. And here's another characteristic. In traditional gospel, church music, we 9 times out of 10, always before we go to that 5 chord, we play that 1 chord in second inversion. So the bass is already on the 5, then we go to the 5 and then resolve it. So that's a staple of gospel music. When we go to that 5, make it a dominant 7. Again, including that blue note where possible. Now in context, we have, and we talk about, we can use this chord as a turnaround. So all I'm playing is an E flat 7, E flat dominant 7 over 5 with the F in the bass. That's how I like to think about it. So, amen, air. Amen. Walk up. Amen. Right here. Amen. 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 characteristic. Swing that beat. You notice I'm not playing straight. Amen. No, I'm doing. We call that swinging. Ba, 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 ba. That beat, you kind of want to incorporate some of that in the chords. Hey, amen. Amen. You see me do this? So all I'm doing there now is walking through that 2 chord, that 2 minor 7 flat 5, up to the 5. Not a standard thing. So instead of staying here and then to that 5, you can walk it up to the 1 in first inversion, then into a minor 4 to that 5. So it's a very standard traditional gospel sound. Then 5. You see those little nuances I'm doing, stuff like bending the notes, grace notes. I often do that with the 3rd of the chord. So you're on the 5, you're on the 1, you're on the 4. So it's something you can do whenever you're on major chords. Bend that middle note, the minor. Bend the minor to the major. And it's going to give you that bluesy sound. Now, another thing I did at the end, before starting the song again, we'll call it a turnaround. So, amen, amen, right here. Right? So all we're doing, we're taking that 1 chord as a dominant 7. Look at this particular voicing, because this is the voicing you're going to be using. 3 and 5 in the right hand, 1 and 7 in the left. The left hand is going to descend 7 down to 6, flat 6 to 5. Right hand is going to go descend half step in thirds, and resolve it to the 1. It's a quick movement. And see? All these little flicks, these are what makes that character. When we talk about that chord right there, it's a 5 chord, but it's altered. 1, 7, 9, sort of the 4. You could call this right here the sharp 5. This would be like the 11th. But again, for simplification, just think of it as a 4 over 5. But the 4 is dominant 7 over that 5. And the reason we're doing that, because again, that blue note. Let's take out one more time. Amen. 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 Again. Amen. I'm going to show you one more thing, and that's how you can add some additional chords using that sort of 2-5 progression movement. When we go, amen, we do that 7-3-6. Amen. When I'm on that 6, I like to bounce it to like that 2, that C minor. Bass doesn't change, just the upper chord. Right here. Amen. Amen. And it sounds gospel, right? Amen. So what I did there, instead of staying there and then going to I went to the 6th verse and playing it as an augmented 9 because again we want to get that blue note. So, amen, amen, amen. So we're playing 6, 2, 5, 1. So it's just a 2-5 passing, really. So I'm bypassing this. So these are options. Let's hear in context. Amen. 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 Then we'll do the A. Amen. So those are just some ideas how you can take any song and make it bluesy. Now, I know I'm saying you can take any song, but in reality, not every song requires a bluesy gospel feel. At least not without significantly changing the melody to match the new chord choices you're going to be doing. So when you're doing things like that, it's always important to take it in mind, the characteristics of the song already. This is an old traditional song I demonstrated on. So if the song already naturally leads into that gospel bluesy feel, then you can totally run with it. But you can't just go out there and take any hill song in elevation worship and just say, I'm going to make it straight blues. It may not work, again, unless the singer starts to do that bluesy sound. Because in theory, yes, you can make any song sound gospel and bluesy, but everybody has to be on the same accord. So you can see the way I was singing this song was in a gospel bluesy style and feel. If I decide I'm going to sing it in a more classical or sort of a CCM style while playing this bluesy gospel undertone chords, it probably wouldn't work. So I just wanted to preface that the vocal delivery needs to match the playing for it to work. Once the vocal deliveries align with you, everything you just see me demonstrated, you will be able to do as well. Again, just a reminder, the PDF in the description, free PDF containing the blues scale in all 12 keys with all the fingering, and I'm going to throw in the pentatonic scale and the minor scales as well. So download that PDF below. Now, if you love this content, be sure to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, so you can stay informed when I post new videos. And for those of you who want to take your playing beyond the scope of YouTube with more step-by-step guidance, I would highly recommend you to check out pianolessonwithwarren.com. That's my private membership program that I've been running since 2017. And since then, I've helped thousands of students from all over the world to achieve their musical goals in learning how to play piano by ear. All right? So I do look forward to see you over there. If you want to hang out a little bit longer on YouTube, I'm going to link to a video here that talks more about the gospel blues style and how you can incorporate that in your playing. Until then, have a blessed week.